What would you do if speaking the truth could cost you everything, but staying silent could cost you your soul? Have you ever witnessed injustice and had to choose between safety and speaking up? Between protecting yourself and protecting your principles? This is a story of Maya Richardson, a 15-year-old scholarship student who found herself at the center of a storm she didn't create but refused to ignore. What she did next shocked an entire nation and proved that sometimes the smallest voice can shake the strongest foundation. If you ever had to stand alone for what's right, hit that like button right now, because this story will remind you why courage matters, even when it costs you everything. Maya Richardson had dreamed of attending Westbrook Academy since she was 10 years old. The prestigious private school in Connecticut was known for producing senators, CEOs, and generational wealth. For a girl from a working-class family, getting accepted on a full scholarship felt like winning the lottery. But Maya quickly learned that opportunity and belonging are two very different things. Westbrook's campus was beautiful. Manicured lawns, historic buildings, students dressed in designer clothes discussing summer homes in the Hamptons. Maya's mother, Angela, worked double shifts as a hospital administrator to cover the expenses a scholarship didn't. Uniforms, books, the social activities that weren't technically required but absolutely expected. From her first day, Maya felt the weight of being different. She was one of only 3 black students in her grade, the only one in most of her advanced classes. The differences went deeper than appearance. It was in the assumptions people made, the conversations that stopped when she entered a room, the study groups that somehow never had space for one more. Teachers praised her work with surprise in their voices, as if excellence from her was unexpected. Classmates questioned whether she really deserved her scholarship, or if it was just diversity points. Invitations to social events were rare, and when they came, Maya could feel herself being displayed like proof of inclusion rather than welcomed as a friend. Her best friend, Jordan, another scholarship student, understood the delicate dance they performed daily. Keep your head down. Be twice as good. Don't give them reasons. He'd remind her when the microaggressions piled up. Maya's mother offered similar advice, though her words carried the weight of harder experience. Baby, I know it's not fair. I know you shouldn't have to prove yourself every single day. But you get that education, you get that degree, and you get out. That's the goal. So Maya kept her head down. She earned straight A's. She joined clubs and volunteered. She smiled through the subtle slights and laughed off the not-so-subtle ones. She played the game because of prize, a future her mother never had. Seemed worth the cost. But Maya was about to face a test that no amount of straight A's could prepare her for. The annual Westbrook Gala was the school's biggest fundraising event, where wealthy families gathered in the grand ballroom to donate obscene amounts of money, while students performed and gave speeches about the school's values. This year, Maya had been chosen to speak about diversity and inclusion. The irony wasn't lost on her. She was being asked to stand before a room of privilege and assure them that Westbrook was a welcoming place, that their donations were creating opportunities for students like her. She was supposed to be the smiling proof that the system worked. Maya spent weeks preparing her speech, carefully crafting words that would satisfy the administration while still feeling authentic. But as the gala approached, tensions at school were rising. A group of senior students, children of the school's biggest donors, had made Maya's life increasingly difficult. What started as exclusion had escalated to open hostility. They resented her academic success, resented the attention she received as the school's diversity showcase, resented her very presence in spaces they considered theirs by birthright. 2 days before the gala, during a rehearsal in the empty ballroom, everything came to a head. Maya was practicing her speech alone when 5 students entered. Their leader, Brandon Whitmore, whose family name was on 3 buildings, approached with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "We wanted to help you prepare," he said. "Make sure you really understand your place here." What happened next was a calculated act of cruelty designed to humiliate and intimidate. They surrounded her, their words cutting deeper than any physical blow. They mocked her scholarship, her background, her mother's work. They made it clear that no matter how well she performed, she would never truly belong. When Maya tried to leave, one of them pushed her. She fell hard, her speech pages scattering across the polished floor. As she struggled to gather them, someone stepped on her hand. The message was clear. Stay down. Stay quiet. Stay in your place. Two faculty members witnessed the incident from the doorway. Maya saw them. They saw her on the floor, saw the students surrounding her, saw everything, and they walked away. By the time Maya made it home, her mother knew something was wrong. Through tears, Maya told her everything. Not just that day's incident, but months of accumulated pain she'd been hiding. The next morning, they met with the headmaster. He listened with practiced sympathy, then made his position clear. The students involved came from important families. An accusation would be difficult to prove, could damage the school's reputation, and might jeopardize Maya's scholarship. Wouldn't it be better to move forward? Perhaps counseling could help Maya adjust to Westbrook's culture. The message was unmistakable. Her truth was less important than their comfort. Her pain mattered less than their donations. That's when Maya made a decision that would change everything. Comment below if you've ever been pressured to stay silent about something that hurt you, because what Maya did next proved that our voices are more powerful than any system designed to silence them. Maya couldn't sleep that night. Her mother's words echoed in her mind. Just take the deal, baby. Keep your scholarship. Get through this. Get your education. It was practical advice born from experience, from a life of swallowing pride to survive. But Maya kept thinking about the faculty members who had walked away, about the headmaster's practiced sympathy that held no promise of change, about the students who believed their money made them untouchable. And then she thought about something else. If this had happened to her, a scholarship student they needed for their diversity numbers, what had happened to students who were even more invisible? The next day, instead of preparing for her approved speech, Maya started investigating. With Mr. Chen's quiet help, the one teacher who had always believed in her, she discovered she wasn't the first. There were others, students who had been harassed, bullied, assaulted, and silenced. Some had transferred out. Others had simply endured. All had been offered the same deal. Stay quiet, and we'll protect your future. The pattern was clear. Wealthy students acted with impunity because the school protected its donors over its students. The system worked perfectly for those it was designed to serve. Maya spent 3 days gathering evidence, documenting incidents, reaching out to former students who had suffered similarly. Each story she uncovered strengthened her resolve and deepened her anger. This wasn't about one incident. This was about a system that valued money over morality, reputation over responsibility. Her mother pleaded with her to reconsider. Baby, you speak up and they'll destroy you. Is it worth losing everything? Jordan warned her about the consequences. Maya, I get it, but we can't fight them. We just need to survive them. Even Mr. Chun, who supported her, cautioned her about the cost. I believe in you, Maya, but I need you to understand. Speaking truth to power always comes with a price. Maya understood. She understood perfectly. And that's what made her decision so powerful. The night before the gala, as she rewrote her speech with trembling hands, her mother sat beside her. Angela Richardson had spent her life teaching her daughter to bend so she wouldn't break. But watching Maya's quiet determination, she recognized something she tried to protect her from. The moment when bending becomes breaking, when silence becomes complicity. I raised you to bend, Angela whispered, tears in her eyes. But you were born to stand. That was a permission Maya didn't know she needed. What happened next at that gala would expose more than just one incident. It would unravel years of carefully hidden truth. The Westbrook ballroom glittered with wealth and self-satisfaction. Donors filled tables worth thousands of dollars per seat. The headmaster beamed with confidence. The students who had tormented Maya sat with their families, certain that their power had once again ensured their protection. Maya stood backstage, her approved speech in one hand, her real speech in the other, her heart hammered against her ribs. Every instinct screamed at her to play it safe, to deliver the words they wanted, to protect herself. But she thought about the students before her who had stayed silent, the students after her who would suffer the same if nothing changed. And she thought about who she wanted to be, someone who bent until she broke, or someone who stood until they couldn't ignore her. When her name was called, Maya walked onto that stage with her head high. She started with the approved words, talking about gratitude and opportunity. The audience smiled, comfortable with this familiar narrative. The administrators relaxed. Everything was going according to plan. Then Maya paused, took a breath, and set down the approved speech. "But that's not the whole truth," she said, her voice clear and steady. "And tonight, I'm going to tell you what Westbrook doesn't want you to know." The room went silent. The headmaster stood, ready to intervene, but was too late. Maya spoke about the harassment she'd endured, about the students who acted with impunity because their families' donations made them untouchable, about the faculty who looked away and the administrators who offered silence instead of safety, about the previous students who had suffered the same and been paid to disappear. She didn't name names. She didn't seek revenge. She simply told the truth with devastating clarity and dignity. "I was offered a deal," Maya continued, her voice stronger now. "Stay silent about what happened to me and keep my scholarship. Speak up and lose everything. But I realized something. Silence protects the system. Truth protects the students. And I'd rather lose my scholarship than lose my soul." Her closing words rang to the stunned ballroom. You can buy a lot of things with money, buildings, programs, even silence. But you can't buy integrity. You can't buy justice. And you can't buy my voice. The silence that followed was deafening. Then chaos erupted. If this story is reminding you of the power of speaking truth to power, make sure to subscribe and ring that bell. Because stories like Maya's prove that courage can change everything. The immediate aftermath was brutal. Wealthy donors stormed out. The headmaster demanded Maya leave immediately. Threats about her scholarship were made before she even left the stage. Security was called to escort her out. But something else happened too. Students started crying, not from shock, but from recognition. Victims who had stayed silent saw themselves in Maya's courage. Some approached her, sharing their own stories. Others posted about the speech on social media before they could be stopped. Within hours, Maya's stand had gone viral. Attendees had recorded her speech. News outlets picked it up. By morning, Westbrook Academy was trending nationwide, but not for the reasons the school wanted. The investigation that followed exposed a pattern of abuse and cover-ups spanning years. Multiple administrators were found complicit. The extent to which wealthy families had influenced the silencing of previous incidents shocked even the most cynical observers. Maya paid a price. Her scholarship was revoked, though public outcry eventually forced its reinstatement. She received harassment from those who wanted her silence. Her family faced threats. The scrutiny was relentless and exhausting, but she also found unexpected support. Other schools offered her scholarships. Organizations invited her to speak. Students from across the country reached out, sharing their own experiences of being silenced, inspired by her courage to use their own voices. A hashtag emerged, #SpeakLikeMaya. It became a rallying cry for students facing injustice in educational institutions everywhere. Her interview with a major news network went viral, sparking national conversations about privilege, accountability, and the systems that protect power over people. The ripple effects were profound. Westbrook underwent massive institutional changes, administrative resignations, new oversight committees, actual accountability measures. But more importantly, schools nationwide started examining their own systems, afraid of becoming the next Westbrook. Maya's mother, watching her daughter navigate the storm with grace and determination, finally understood. Sometimes bending isn't survival, it's slow destruction. Sometimes standing is the only way to truly live. Maya Richardson graduated from Westbrook Academy with honors, but she didn't stop there. She started a nonprofit organization dedicated to student advocacy, helping young people navigate institutional injustice and find their voices. She speaks at schools nationwide, not as a cautionary tale, but as proof that one person's courage can challenge an entire system. The Maya effect, as it came to be known, represents something powerful, the moment when enough people refuse to accept injustice as the price of opportunity, when silence stops being survival and becomes complicity, when speaking up stops being dangerous and becomes necessary. Her story teaches us that those in power often protect power, not people, that systems count on our silence because our voices are the greatest threat to their control, that standing alone is terrifying, but you're never as alone as you think. There are always others waiting for someone to speak first. Maya learned that truth and dignity are worth protecting, even when the cost seems too high. That your voice matters, even when people try to convince you it doesn't. That one person refusing to be silent can inspire thousands to do the same. Like if Maya's courage inspired you to use your own voice. Subscribe for more stories about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Comment below, what's one truth you've been afraid to speak? You're not alone. Share this with someone who needs courage today. Maya Richardson's story isn't unique. It's universal. We all face moments where we must choose between safety and speaking up, between protecting ourselves and protecting our principles. The system counts on us choosing silence. It offers us deals, makes threats, reminds us of everything we have to lose. But Maya teaches us that silence has its own cost, that staying quiet to survive isn't really living, that sometimes the most revolutionary act is simply refusing to be silenced. Her moment of courage didn't just change Westbrook Academy. It changed how students across the country think about their own power. It reminded us that institutions are only as strong as our willingness to accept them as they are. That change always starts with one person deciding that enough is enough. The question isn't whether speaking up is risky. It is. The question is whether staying silent is riskier, whether protecting the system matters more than protecting your soul, whether the future you're building is worth the pieces of yourself you sacrificed to get there. Maya Richardson learned that sometimes the most important thing you can do is refuse to be silent. The question is, when your moment comes, will you speak? Because your voice, your truth, might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to find their own courage. And that courage, multiplied across thousands of people who refuse to accept injustice, is how systems change. That's how the world changes. One voice at a time, starting with yours.